Where's the balance between strengthening your squad and unsettling your squad? You look at Fulham, they spent, what, 100 million?
13 players, 30 points currently, the gap between Wolverhampton Wanderers and Fulham. Wolves had the core and a manager that, again, a counter-attacking philosophy. They sorted the defence out first, Bolly, people like Connor Cody, etc., etc. And now what Fulham did is that they brought loads of players in, threw it at the tactics board and said, let's see how we go on. And from day one, they were conceding goals. So you've very much got to have your philosophy right. I think that Hasenhüttl's philosophy is very good. If they can
he hasn't got the players at his disposal.
Exactly.
Look at the players coming on today. He hasn't got the players to probably play the way he wants to.
But would it be fair to say if they play with the intensity and belief that they did in the first 50 minutes, 45, 50 minutes,
sustain it, could they?
If they can sustain that for 70, 75, they'll be a much better team.
Yeah, and that's what having a pre-season. We're talking about freshening up. We're not talking about overhauling the whole squad.
2 or 3.
It's bringing in, spend 50, 60 million. The reputation here for scouting has been amazing over the last 10 years. They scour the world and bring those players in. And yes, it can be a stepping stone for them players, but that's what they need to get back to.
Out of interest, what was it like for you during your Bolton days when the likes of Jokai, Nakata, all started coming in?
I remember when Nicolas Anelka came in, and you start thinking, oh, is he going to be taking my place? But then it makes you up your game.
It does.
Because you train harder. When you get the opportunity, you're working hard, even harder, and it lifts you. And that's what managers do. They bring players in to compete, to get the best out of their players. And that lifts the whole squad. And that's what it's all about. If you can't take that mentally, you shouldn't be playing football.
You have to have that implied threat of somebody's going to take your position. And like I say, the problem that Liverpool had with their goalkeepers for many years with Pep Reina is that the number 1 was so good that the number 2 was, in real terms, never going to displace them. So when you've got, usually in a big transfer window, you'd probably say 2 or 3. 2 or 3 players coming in to add to the squad in numbers and add to the squad in quality. You don't want a situation like Spurs had of bringing in nobody, because then there's no implied threat to any player. Yeah. Although they've been very professional, I have to say that, the Spurs players this season. And you don't want to bring in 6, 7, 10, 12 that upset the apple cart.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, because we've discussed this, and one reason why you said you left Liverpool was the emergence, the rise of Michael Owen.
Yeah.
So why did you leave?
We had myself, Michael Owen, a young lad called Rob Jones, Robbie Fowler. For me, it was the time to move on to somewhere else, and it was my club, Aston Villa, that I was going to. I could have dealt with the competition of Michael Owen, and I did. He came into the team the season before, but it was my opportunity to go somewhere that I really wanted to go. And it was, there was competition at Aston Villa. Players like Savo Milosevic and Dwight York were at the football club. But I think that the difference is, between that situation, was wanting to move clubs, not necessarily being afraid of the competition. Because like Kev said, if you're afraid of the competition, you wouldn't ever play. Because in a professional football dressing room of 25 players, you always should have somebody that's wanting to take your place.
Your shirt. There always is. But about Southampton, don't forget, they were playing in the Europa League. Inter Milan were here a couple of years ago, so it just needs a little bit of freshening up, add a bit of quality, and it lifts the squad. It really does. And although players won't admit it, it makes you feel better, because the club's shown a bit of ambition. This club have been finishing in the top 8 for 3 years in a row, I think, and the last 2 years has been a bit of a struggle for them.